that actually the more time you spend on your phone, the more likely you are to be depressed.
In a world that is more technologically advanced, convenient, and interconnected than ever before, why is it that mental health issues are on the rise and so many people are feeling more isolated and lonely than ever before? Personally, I think a huge part of the issue is a growing feeling of separation. Separation from ourselves and each other. One thing I've learned is that some of the technology we have available to us that is supposed to help us become more connected is actually contributing to the feeling of separation in a major way. And this isn't just a hunch. We now have statistics and research to show that this is happening right before our eyes. So, our information from the Clinical Psychological Science of 2018 mentions how teenagers who spend 3 hours per day or more on electronic devices are 35% more likely to demonstrate risk factors for suicide. And teenagers who spend 5 or more hours per day on their devices are 71% more likely to show risk factors for suicide. It's really surprising to see how these little devices in our hands can be something that contributes to the suicide risk among many teens. Something needs to change.
The research is showing that our compulsions to overuse our phones and the amount of time and effort that we're putting into our devices is contributing to a global mental illness epidemic. I believe that if we're going to have a conversation about mental health today, it must include digital wellness as a key component.
I believe our devices and social media platforms can serve their purpose and improve our lives without sucking our souls in the process. Personally, digital wellness has become a huge part of my mental health journey, and it has not been easy. I'm still trying to find the best way to manage my phone and social media use, especially since that we're in a pandemic of COVID-19. And it hasn't been easy. I'm still trying to find the best way to manage my phone and social media use, especially because it directly relates to the schoolwork that I have to do for school. But one thing that I found absolutely key for me is to take digital detoxes, aka dopamine detox, once in a while. A digital detox is taking an extended amount of time without your phone and other smart devices between 24 and 72 hours or more without your phone to take the time to connect with the real world. So the digital detox I've done recently was last year in the summer when I went on a camping trip. We didn't have our phones and we actually had time to connect with each other and reflect and do many things that was beneficial for us to clear the mind. And with connecting with nature, it felt like a cure for everything. I feel like nature holds all the answers, and anytime that I feel disconnected from myself or feeling depressed, I just need to get into nature and get off my phone. As being a human being, we are part of the ecosystem, and we should be using it more frequently because we have remedies that we should use.
We're stimulated by this neurochemical called dopamine, and dopamine is basically like candy for your brain. That chemical dopamine keeps us in this digital rat race so that we are constantly seeking more and never really being fulfilled and satisfied. There's a number of techniques that they call persuasive technology that's used in our phones, using techniques that were first designed for gambling to get people to spend as much time on slot machines as possible. And so you'll see, for example, in our feeds, they're endless. All of our notifications are red because it heightens the galvanic skin response, which is basically like saying you're arousal. So you actually feel a sense of urgency and excitement when you see the color red versus other colors. You know, we're talking a lot about the problems, but there are solutions out there, and that's what Brick's focus is. And so one of the things that we recommend as a barrier from that is to try putting your phone on grayscale, and you can start to see the difference in which apps do you still feel the need to use, which apps do you end up using less, and that will give you a more neutral point of view when it comes to what's an appropriate amount of phone use for you.
After watching this clip, it made me realize that I have to watch out more about my habits and how the phones and social media are marketing for people to use their apps, which means that they'll use tactics for us to be consumers to those things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being consumer of those products, but there's a time and place, and we should have restrictions and limits to it, because excessive amount is not good for us. Well, this video made me want to try doing this again, because I think it will be a healthy way to use social media now. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Thank you very much.